See you today. So good to talk to all of you in our community online. I know there's a number of people that watch, and I know there are some that are not part of our church, but I'll tell you this, we are always open on Sundays. You're always welcome to come. 10:30, we open up, and we have morning worship service. If you wanted to come a little bit earlier, we also have Sunday school. But we are currently meeting in our fellowship hall, and we are working on getting our basement corrected and the air quality and some other structural things taken care of also. Today, the pest control people are outside working hard. I know Melinda was in here earlier today, and she was preparing. We're helping, I believe, 3 families this year with Christmas, which I'm very, very happy we can do that. And I want to thank everybody who has been contributing and donating and giving for this. What a wonderful, wonderful joy that is, and what a wonderful joy you are. Also, too, I just want to warn everybody, there is a mystery pie person running around this town of Jay. Last night, we walked out on our porch, and somebody, you can't believe it. Oh, I'm shocked. Somebody left us a scrumptious pumpkin pie right on the porch. I am shocked. So, I'm just warning all of you who might be watching this, be careful. There is the pumpkin pie, mystery pumpkin pie placers out and about during this holiday season. So just be careful. We want to thank that person. I'll give you their initials, Mary Jane. That's their initials. I appreciate that. It was very, very good. We had a piece, and wonderful, wonderful. What a wonderful couple, her and Wayne. They've done a lot here at the church. They've been very active, especially she is my VBS person. And not only that, she's helped in a lot of other ways. And what a wonderful couple. We have a number of people that have really been stepping up lately, and I'm just so happy and proud of all that they do. And I just it's wonderful. And this time of the year, a lot of people just come out and they really want to help, and that's great. And I know there are a number of people still with the COVID. I want to encourage you. This will pass. Sometime it's got to pass, either through inoculation or through it's just going to burn itself out. And I'm looking forward to the day when the restrictions are down and we can get back to what we should be doing in that. And I keep you in prayer. I do. And I know not just in my church, but there's a number of churches that I'm affiliated with that I am aware that because of the congregation members, they're trying to do all sorts of different things to keep things going, and we want to lift them up. And I want to lift up too, especially I'm not going to give their name, but there is a church in our association that's having great struggles right now in the Baptist Association, and I just want them to know that I am praying for them. And if you're listening to this broadcast, to please just lift up a prayer for this church, their well-being during this time. They're going through a very tough struggle, and they are in the Santa Rosa Baptist Association. That's the most I can give you on that, okay? But just keep them in prayer. And we got a great service coming up tomorrow night, 5 o'clock, Christmas Eve. Please come. I'd love for you to be here. It's going to be a great time. It's a short service. It's only about a half an hour to 40 minutes in length. And we have a great time. We're going to have communion. And in fact, if you see this little cup right here, this is the communion cup, or not this one exactly, but one like it. This is made out of olive wood. It's made in Israel, and we are going to have these available, or we're going to use these for our communion service on this coming, tomorrow evening, this coming Christmas Eve service. And we have the candles, and I'll be checking those and going over all that and getting that all set. So I just want to encourage you that you are remembered, you're cared for. And today, a little bit about what I'm doing. I'm going to be here in the office. I have to wait because I'm going to be giving out for these families presents today. So and the gifts that we have collected and the food. And so we can get that done before Christmas. Tomorrow, I will be out and about in the morning early, and I'm going to be stopping at people's houses. I have a gift for everyone, and I know there are some families that have not been coming because of the COVID, and I have an ornament for you, and I'm going to try to make it to all the houses of people that I'm well aware of that have not been coming, so that you have an ornament from the church. Melinda spent a good effort on it. It's a beautiful ornament. It is glass. It has our name and our motif on it and a little message. And it's a beautiful, beautiful addition to anyone's Christmas tree. So we're going to have that for you. So these are just some things going on. We will not be open Christmas Day and then Saturday, but we will have service here at the sanctuary on the Sunday after Christmas. So I'm looking forward to that. And I did also talk recently with my neighboring pastor, Brother Cecil, and we've talked about maybe next year we'll do our joint services again with the Methodist Church, and I'm going to miss that this year. In fact, one of their members told me they're really going to miss that, and because they participated in it. And I really will tell you, wonderful service. I remember the first time we did it when Eb was the pastor next door, and we did the Christmas cantata, and what a wonderful, wonderful experience it was. And then every year after, it's just been a wonderful experience. This year, we won't be doing that, but we're doing other things, and our prayers go up for all those who are having struggles. I also want to lift up, especially right now, the Hollies. They're going through a lot of tough times with their with illness, and we just want to lift them up. And also too, Pat Meadows. She's been really struggling with her back, and I want to just lift her up before the Lord too. So please remember them in prayer. I know there are others. I know Coach Mack and lovely Georgia, his wife. I believe that they're recovering from illness, and there are just a number of people out and about traveling. We want to pray for their traveling mercies, and we just want to continue on during this Christmas season. Well, I have one verse for us, and it really doesn't pertain exactly to the birth, but it pertains to the reason of the birth of Jesus. And it is a prophecy. It was given by the prophet Zechariah. Excuse me. And in chapter 12, verse 10 of the book of Zechariah, we hear as God is giving an oracle to concerning Israel. He's giving it through the writings of Zechariah. And I have a Bible that I actually worked on at one time. It's called the Sword Bible, and mine is purple. They don't make them purple anymore. They make them black, and these were made originally. A gentleman who was one of the founders of Napa Auto Parts, and he decided, he was very, very wealthy. He decided that when he wanted to make the Word of God available for everyone, and make it reasonable enough price that everyone could afford a Bible or get a Bible. And he also loved the King James Version, but he also understood that sometimes the King James Version is a little bit harder to read because it uses antiquated language like thee and thou and things like that. And I know some people say, it just throws me off. Well, this version of the King James is called the King James Version Easy Reading. Instead of the these and the thous and the ETH endings and the EST endings for either singular or plural, they have all been changed to the normal standard way we do it today. And we say it today and we read today. Also, too, between the New Testament and the Old Testament, some of the names in the Old Testament were taken and made more from a Greek perspective in the New Testament. Hebrew in the Old, Greek in the New. And they were different spellings, and people wondered sometimes, what is that? Well, this Bible takes all of them and all the names and keeps them in the Old Testament style understanding. So Isaiah is not Isaiah's, and Jeremiah and other names like that are kept the same throughout, instead of having to say, what is this, and looking for a note that says, what is this name in the Greek New Testament. So those are the minor changes. Nothing's changed in the text other than just how it's given. So it's in essence the same text. But as I'm reading through this is very interesting. And Zechariah states, "And I will pour upon the house of David and upon the inhabitants of Jerusalem the spirit of grace and supplications. And they shall look upon me whom they have pierced, and they shall mourn for him as one mourns for his only son, and shall be in bitterness for him as one that is in bitterness for his firstborn." Now this is found, references to this found in John 19:37 and Revelation 1:7. And this, of course, is talking about the blessing of Jesus Christ. Now, from the very beginning of time, there was a promise given. We go all the way back to Genesis 3:15. That is when God told Eve and the serpent there's going to be a battle between the seed of the woman, which was the virgin birth Messiah, and Satan. And that took place on the cross. Well, throughout the course of history, and as we get closer to the time of the birth of Jesus, more and more prophecies were given in the Old Testament pertaining to Jesus Christ, both in his first coming when he was born in the stables in Bethlehem, as well as his second coming, that he will come, and he will not come born in as in a lowly stable, but he will come as truly taking his rightful place on this earth as the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. Now that does not mean he's not King and Lord of Lords right now. Currently he is. But he's going to take the official physical position when he returns back to this world. And I believe that's probably sooner than later. I really believe that. But here, very, very interesting. He says, and God will pour out the spirit of grace and supplication upon the house of David. And if you think about it, when Jesus was born, Bethlehem was very small. It was never a huge town, but very, very small and almost forgotten about. You have to understand, at the end of the Old Testament, when we conclude with the book of Malachi and we look at the history, in essence, the Greek Empire takes over in Israel. Israel went through the Babylonian captivity. They come back to Jerusalem and into the southern kingdom. They make their kingdom there again. The Medes and the Persians take over. It was a seamless movement. There was no changes. In fact, the Jewish people actually came back to Israel during the Medo-Persian Empire under Darius or Cyrus, I mean. And so you have that happening. And then all of a sudden, something changes in the world. And this change comes about with the Greek Empire. The Greek Empire, I mean, each of these world empires that conquered the known world at the time, Babylon, we see prophecies about these in Daniel, in the book of Daniel. And if you take the large statue that Daniel talks about, you have the golden head. That would be the kingdom of Babylon. And the king himself, Nebuchadnezzar. He had total authority. They changed everything. Their idea was move one group of conquered people to another land area, and they will behave better because they're out of their element, which has merit, but that's how they did it. The Medes and the Persians weren't quite as big on that. That's why they allowed Israel to come back. Greeks were different. Greeks, they didn't want to move people around. They conquered you. They basically brought you into the kingdom, and you were asked to adapt depending on who your overall leader was, and they carried on. And then we know, of course, their leader was Alexander the Great. And Alexander the Great, when he died on his deathbed, he called his 4 major generals in front of him. It was Lysimachus, you had Seleucus, and you had Ptolemy, and there was another one, and I always forget his name. But the 2 that were important that pertained to Israel was Ptolemy and Seleucus. And Seleucus got what we know as Syria, and Ptolemy got what was known as Egypt, those areas. Excuse me one second. Okay, no, I don't know that one. And so, excuse me one second. Hello, this is Brother George, J First Baptist Church. How can I help you? Okay, could you call me back in about 20 minutes, please? And she is not here in the office today. Okay? No, she's not in. Okay. I'm in a broadcast right now. Okay. Okay, bye-bye. That's all right. Bye. Okay. Sorry about that, folks. That's the first time I've ever done that. We're talking about Seleucus in Syria, and then you had, below Israel, you had Ptolemy in Egypt. Well, here's the mindsets of these generals when they became basically leaders in these sections. And then you had the two other generals were Greek proper, Macedonia, and in Asia Minor. And so they were spread out amongst the Greek kingdom at that time. Well, you had Ptolemy. His mindset was, as long as Israel pays their taxes, they can do what they want. They want to worship their God, they can worship their God. They want to do something else, that's fine. They want to follow the Greek gods, that's fine. Seleucus was a bit different, and their mindset in Syria was, if you're going to be under our shadow, and see, you have to understand, Syria at the north fought all the time with Ptolemy, and guess who's in the middle? Israel. And Israel gets taken by whoever wins. The Seleucids from Seleucus, their mindset was, you will be Greek. You are not going to worship your God. You're going to worship our gods. You are going to behave like a Greek. Now, in Israel, there was a divide too. You had some individuals that liked the Greek style. You had other individuals that were very, very opposed, and they would never change. And so there was great hardship, great fighting in Israel during this time period. And this was what we call the intertestament time period. It's actually between the Old Testament and the New Testament. Nothing is written biblically about this. You do have some books that are part of what we call the apocryphal books of the Bible. Those are books, I know the Roman Catholic Church says that they're part of the Bible, but they still put them in a second tier level. You have like the Maccabees, you have Judith, you have some other ones, and some of you I've been asked by people here about them. They're not Bible, but some of the books have good history, such as the Maccabees. Some are more kind of out there, and they're really just a make-believe story that someone wrote. But these apocryphal books, some of them address some of this. And it's actually, the Maccabees are good history, and it talks about the struggle between the Seleucids under Antiochus Epiphanes and the Jewish nation, and how the Jewish nation drove them out under the Maccabean lead and rule. And the Maccabees were a priestly family, and you had Judas Maccabeus, and basically that meant Judas the Hammer. That's what the Maccabeus, and that. So you had this, and that happened. And if you look at the history, though, by the time that Jesus was born, David, the lineage of David was all but gone. Under the Roman rule, that didn't matter. That didn't mean anything. Even in the priesthood, a little bit after the time of Christ, a meeting took place. And all these priests from the Jewish nation came together, and they said, we don't see anything happening that was promised in the Old Testament. They say, where is the scepter? The scepter is gone out of Israel, meaning the ruling of Israel by Jewish people is gone. And actually, they went to a statement given in the Old Testament that basically stated that God's desire, they took it out of context, was for understanding and graciousness to others around you, opposed to sacrificing. So their statement was, we are now going to become a benevolent religion that's based on doing good works and studying about God, because God, of course, did not follow through with their Messiah. Now, they missed Jesus. Jesus was the Messiah. He is the Messiah. So when Jesus came, something happened. We see at least in the minds of those that did follow Jesus, and even today, that the Davidic prophecy was given, was fulfilled. And because of that, we see grace from his family, and we see the grace and supplications given to all of Israel, and some at that day would follow through, and they would mourn over the death of Christ, over the death of Jesus. Where I know some did not, but you know what? As time progresses, Christianity spread, and one day, I truly believe when Jesus returns, those Jewish people that are still alive are going to one day bow before the Lord Jesus Christ, and they're going to call him King of Kings and Lord of Lords and Heavenly Messiah. So we see here this one verse prophecy given by God through Zechariah's ministry, God speaking, that there would come a day when the house of David would be blessed, and the spirit of grace and supplication on the city of Jerusalem, the center for all of the Jewish religious studies. And that is where the focus would be, where God dwelt in the temple. So let me encourage you this Christmas. What a wonderful, wonderful day. God bless you, and shalom.